Hey guys, Shawn Ziem, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor, and the host for the Network Marketing Insider, where we bring on guests all over the world to share the ins and outs, the strategies they might use, the trials and tribulations they've gone through, some of the things that are working and not working. But this is a big thing though. While you're watching us or listening to us, if you're on the video or if you're on the podcast, please take some notes and also take action. Don't just listen to us and then let it go in one ear and out the other. Never implement what we're talking about. Some of the things we're going to talk about are things that you could implement today. Some things you're going to implement in a couple weeks or a couple months from now, but just do it. And if you are implementing things and it starts to work for you, come back to this episode, drop a comment, tell us what we've been doing and what you helped you out in the situation you might be in. Housekeeping, if you're watching us live, hashtag replay on the replay. And one other thing, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and also the last thing is drop a comment every once in a while. One, where you're watching from, and then two, your favorite emoji. And from there on, you can do whatever you want. All right, ask questions as we go. Let me bring on my next guest, Val Smyth. What's going on, man?
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day, which some people always give me that excuse, oh, I don't have time to provide some value. And I'm like, that's concerning because we should all be able to want to help other people too. But man, before we even get into it, Val, I always ask, who are you and why did you get into network marketing?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So first off, I'm a Canadian. I got started in this industry in 1978 when I was 15 years old. My mother was a big influence in my life. I totally hated the educational system. I didn't enjoy school in any which way, shape, or form. I was kind of like the Jeff Spicoli from Ridgemount High. If you've ever seen that movie back in the day, I was that guy. And I'd look out the window like that and I'd be daydreaming about, a beautiful house and nice cars and trophy girlfriends and having lots of cash and things like that. And I'd be the teacher would ask me a question and Spicoli didn't know the answer. I didn't know the answer. And it's not that I was dumb. School is boredom to me. I actually was pretty smart, but I just didn't gravitate to it. So anyhow, my mom was a big influence in my life. She basically brought me to a hotel meeting back in 1978. I was only 15 years old. You need a guardian in order to sign up in the business. But I still remember that day. There was a really good looking guy standing at the front of the room with a beautiful suntan, silver fox hair, Italian suit, Italian designer shoes. And man, was he ever painting a picture. And I'm this skinny little kid with a white t-shirt on and Levi's. And he was painting a picture of financial freedom and, beautiful lifestyle and residual income. And anyhow, so that was the beginning for me. Got started in the industry, failed for 17 years, wasn't very good at it, kind of did some side gigs. I never really had an employment job. I never really worked for anybody, seriously outside of my mother who owned a bakery and a delicatessen. But outside of that, never really had any full-time employment. So anyhow, I evolved and I grew and I went through a lot of the trials and tribulations, but more importantly, I went through the personal development, the pain. And you know what the ironic thing is, Shawn? People ask me who my mentors are, because I went through the self-help movement like everybody else. I bought the tapes, the videos, the audios, used to lay in bed and listen to ocean waves and, have the old Sony Walkman on and the headset on there. And after 18 years of that, I gave that stuff up. I realized it was crap. For me, it was crap. And so I was exposed to a very interesting course called the Commonwealth Teachings, which was a modern day version of a book written in 1909, published in 1912, went out of circulation by the church in 1932. The church didn't want it in circulation. Principles and protocols that they would never dare teach in high school, college, and university, written by Charles Hunnell, the master key system. Anyhow, a gentleman by the name of Fred Berrigan of Rennicus, he took that course and he rewrote it in 1972. And he went across Canada teaching it to some of the best real estate agents in the world, and they became super elites. They were making too much money. And so anyhow, we launched a program in 1994 out of Toronto, Canada, called the Commonwealth Teachings, and it was 8 audio cassette tapes and a 24-part instruction manual. It wasn't something that you would read. Even though chapter 1 was 2.5 pages, it took me 5 months to get through chapter 1. And the reason why I tell you that is most people just read a book and say, yeah, that was a great book. But what I was doing is I wasn't just reading it, I was studying chapter 1, 2.5 pages. It took me 5 months to really study it, assimilate it, manifest it, internalize it, and become it. So I went from this very shy, scared, introverted, anxiety-riddled kid to basically, in 1998, I was considered one of the top marketers in the world in my area of expertise. I graduated. I went through all the pain, the physical pain, throwing up before going to conference calls, being nervous before you go on stage or speaking to groups, just going through all those things. And then eventually my body became desensitized to it. My brain accepted the fact that these things had to happen. And then I basically excelled. So it's been a very interesting ride. And just another quick note here. Rhonda Byrne in Australia, she wrote a book, The Secret, and there was a movie, The Secret, with a friend of mine, Bob Proctor. Bob since passed away, but we're both from Toronto, and Bob and I used to collaborate a little bit every now and then from the Commonwealth teachings. Anyhow, if people really want to know where the movie The Secret came from, there was 4 of us actually. There was 5, but one kind of bailed out. There was 4 of us that basically brought that whole concept in 1995, 96 to the table, and Rhonda used our marketing material indirectly to create the movie The Secret. So when you see a genie in a bottle, or if you ever hear you can have everything and anything you want out of life without limit or compromise, what they don't teach in high school, college, university, all these things came out of The Secret, to the public. But before The Secret, there was the Commonwealth teachings, and that was the catalyst that brought Rhonda to getting access to the protocols that she needed in order to create The Secret Manifested. So it's been a great ride. I've been in the industry for 46 years. Like I said, I've had over 3 million people on my teams. I've taught over 2.7 million estimated approximately. And I taught a course called Mentors in Motion. And Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels was one of my students. He will tell you straight up that I was the first mentor he ever got involved with back in the day. So what I was teaching was something a little bit esoteric, kind of like the Dead Sea Scrolls to marketing. It's not your stereotypical self-help motivational stuff. That stuff really, it feels good, but you know what? It doesn't treat the cause. So there's a cause and effect to everything in life. And what I teach is the cause and effect as to, I'll give an example. Like Anthony Robbins will teach you, when you have a lemon, how to get lemonade out of it. I'll teach you how the lemon became a lemon in the first place. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a great ride, and been able to sit back, relax, and enjoy. And a lot of people ask me, why am I still in the industry? Because I am still in the industry, considering we've done extremely well. The greatest lesson, there's so much information going on in my head, so I want to make sure I cover a lot of ground for you.
Fire, man. This is excellent. Go.
Yeah. So, I sold $91 million in courses on the internet. I didn't make $91 million. I sold $91 million in courses on the internet. And anyhow, so a lot of people say, you've got a lot of good things in life and whatnot. They say, so, why are you still doing this? Like even family members ask me, like, why do you waste your time with people on the internet? They have no interest in evolving. They have no interest in growing. They're all lazy. They do nothing. They don't want to make any money. They say they want to make money, but they have this big pattern of psychological resistance in their life. Resistance dominates their lives more than escaping, the pain of whatever's, bothering them or ailing them in the game of life. But anyhow, to make my point clear is what I discovered as you start growing and you evolve and you seek for greater answers other than what the self-help movement can give you, you discover this, that when you graduate and you leave Schoolhouse Earth, I call this Schoolhouse Earth. The only thing you can take with you is, I can't take the Ferraris or the houses or things like that. The only thing you can take with you are all the things you gave away. And when you've got as much knowledge as I do, and I'm not saying I'm any better than anyone else, but in this industry, there's so much knowledge up here that other people don't have, that'll probably never have. And as you get a little bit older in life, I always tell people, and one of the biggest regrets, speaking of my mom passed away in 2002. And one of the biggest regrets that I have about that, Shawn, is that when somebody passes away, a mother, a father, a grandparent, they take with them all the stories, all the experiences, all the knowledge, all the education. And so if there's anybody in the younger crowd here that's, watching this, I always say, seek out your elders in a fun, loving way, build relationships with them, focus on that, even if it means paying money to get involved in a program that they're a part of, so you can basically, have access to them, because you don't have access to them otherwise normally, and tap into their brain. Try to get them in a private discussion like you're doing with me right now, and find out what's going on in their head, and how did they do what they did? How did they manifest and bring into reality what most people only dream of? And most people are afraid to seek out, And so these conversations, these fireside chats, podcasts, call them whatever you want, I think they're really cool, because if you bring the right characters to the table, there's going to be some great golden nuggets that'll be shared amongst the next generation. So my passion in this industry is to help the middle class. A lot of companies out there design their compensation plans around the heavy hitters and the company owners. I call those science fiction compensation plans. They're not attainable.
Yeah.
You'll see bronze, silver, gold, platinum, ruby, doobie, scooby, booby, Shinobi, whatever it is, and then emeralds and whatever, and crown diamonds and blue diamonds and all kinds of diamonds. I stay away from that stuff now. When I became educated and understood how wrong those compensation plans are, and I know that's going to piss some of your people off that are watching this because they're a part of that stuff. That's all cult mentality. It really, really is. There's no logic or common sense or practical application for the average person to capitalize on a compensation plan like that. So the bottom line is, going into 2025, the network marketing industry needs to make some changes and design business opportunities around the middle class people, instead of lying to people and hyping people out, telling them they can make 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a month. And you need 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people on a team to do that. Screw that. I mean, the first step is just help people earn an income period of some kind, and hopefully it's between $3,000 and $7,000 a month. So that's what I do in my approach to network marketing today. I know you didn't ask me the question, but I've got so much information in my head, and again, we only have a half hour to do this. I would tell people, don't set goals. Never set goals in life. The reason why I tell you that, if I come from a Pentecostal background, but anyhow, setting goals is kind of like saying, I'll try. It basically means you're setting yourself up for failure. So do what I was taught by a great teacher and mentor. He basically taught me, he says, go offer a minister $1 million. Tell him you'll write him a check for $1 million right here, right now. If he can show you anywhere in the Bible that Jesus taught goal setting. Can't be done. Jesus never taught goal setting. He said, either you believe or you don't. Either you will or you won't. And so I use the Nike TV commercial, just do it. If you say you're going to do something, just do it. It's called an absolute command. And when you make an absolute command in the universe, or out there in the ether, call it whatever it is you want, that order is taken by whatever it is. And that's the beginning of manifestation. So goal setting is a man-made, I don't know what it is. It's man-made. It came out of the Conan Nightingale series in 1941. But if you ever study any of the ancient Egyptians, it wasn't goal setting that created the pyramids. They never knew what goal setting was back in the day, and they got things done. And as long as we're teaching people, principles in the self-help movement by the motivational speakers and buying the books and tapes and videos and audios, they're always going to be weak and codependent in my personal experience. And then when you take a look at, any other species outside of the human being, very quickly, there's so much knowledge here. I'm sorry, Shawn. I know I'm all over the map here, but listen, any other species outside of the human being does not set goals. I have coyotes in my backyard right now. You might hear my dogs barking shortly. Coyotes do not set goals to eat tonight. They're going to find rodents and whatnot. There's no such thing as goal setting. Goal setting is only used as a dysfunctional mechanism for human beings to support failure. It's a trick. It's a form of manipulation. So once you make an absolute command, like it wasn't my goal to show up today, I absolutely said I would show up on your call today. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And that target was going to be attained. And as long as the subconscious mind understands that goal setting leads to failure, example, how many people do you know set goals and don't attain them? And as long as the subconscious mind understands that goal setting is in association to failure, is related to failure, it'll basically create that same result. Subconscious loves you more than anything in the world. Quick lesson, then I'll shut up. Let you ask me a question. So you've got the conscious mind, you've got the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the captain, the subconscious mind is the crew. Whatever the captain tells the crew to do, the crew has to manifest into reality exactly what you want. If you think you're fat, ugly, short, tall, and skinny, if you think nobody loves you, if you think you're never going to make any money in the home-based business, keep telling the subconscious mind that. And guess what? The subconscious mind will give you exactly what you ask for. It's exactly like placing an order in a restaurant on the menu. This is what I'm willing to accept. Failure, possibility. I don't accept possibility. I accept absolute commands in my life. If I order food in a restaurant, I want exactly what I asked for. And in life, you get exactly what you ask for, good, bad, or ugly. Anyhow, sorry about that. I got carried away, but lots of stuff.
No, hey, this is where a lot of people are like, "Oh, what are you gonna ask me?" And it's like, that's the funny part. Everyone's like, "Is there a script?" I'm like, "No, man, there's no script. I like to listen.
Yeah.
You have knowledge that people can learn from." I mean, I also jot things down, guys. A lot of you don't jot things down in conversations. You're always like trying to figure out what to say next. And that's a problem in conversations that people have. I mean, if you didn't listen, guys, Val failed for 17 years. 17 years. People are like, well, this didn't work first couple months. They said I was going to make all this money. Bullshit. It takes some time. You're going to fail before you can be successful.
Well, here's the thing. I just want to add to that. You see, 17 years of failure, it wasn't the industry's fault. It wasn't the company's fault. It wasn't the people around me's fault. It was my fault. I had excuses for everything. I was shy, scared, introverted. I suffered anxiety, maybe a few little mental health issues along the way too. You know, anxiety is a mental health disorder. And, you know, I was afraid. I was afraid to public speak. I was afraid to announce my name on a conference call or a presentation. I always sat in the back of the room and I always wanted to be hidden. I never wanted eye contact with the person at the front of the room. That was scary. It'd make me want to run out of the room. So I was a very weak, vulnerable human being. And then I realized that, you know, through some assistance along the way and being exposed to the Commonwealth teachings, I realized that I was born rich and that I was buying into personal belief systems because I came from an abusive upbringing. My mom left at I was 8. My dad was an abusive alcoholic. Sorry about that, Dad, but I got to tell the truth. My dad was an abusive alcoholic. I lived with my dad. My mom had left, so I had to fend for myself. And I wasn't physically abused. I was mentally abused, and I was told I was a piece of shit and unworthy of anything. And my dad, when he would be drunk and stuff, he said I should be dead and things like that, you know. So that's what I mean by mental health issues. You know, a lot of people think that successful people, you know, are fed on a silver spoon. My life was hell. It really, I was mentally tortured. And I had one of two choices. I could either commit suicide, which I was pretty close to doing when I was 24 years old, or I could basically, you know, become something in the game of life. And I knew I couldn't be an employee because I would be fired. I had no discipline to take orders from anybody. So Jeff Spicoli never takes orders, right? So the entrepreneurial industry felt really good to me. And I did go to college to be a childcare worker, but making $18,000 a year working in group homes was not sufficient. So I'd rather make, you know, over $1 million a year in network marketing, and that's a whole lot better.
Yeah, man, personal development is huge, and everyone should be. You're gonna have all the rejection. I liked how you were talking about the doing presentations for real estate agents. A lot of real estate agents have trouble today in the U.S. I don't know how the market is in Canada, but they always have to have like something else to make some money with. They're always trying to find that angle. Is that what you're seeing too?
Well, it's there, but they don't understand the principles. Like abundance is all around us, but people have been brainwashed with the educational system and the stereotypical status quo, even for salespeople. Ask the great, you know, I always challenge, if I'm speaking to a group of people, I always challenge them. I say, go find somebody that's making 7-8 figures and ask them how they do it. I guarantee you they can't answer the question how they're doing it. It has nothing to do with hard work. I'll give you a clue. A child that is brought up with in a very wealthy family, like just imagine being brought up in a family with Elon Musk being your father. Your behavioral patterns, your whole energy, your vibration, the frequency, everything you're playing at, your intellectual ability, the circle of people you're hanging around with will be totally different. You know, they're going to be automatically, you know, wealthy just by not the DNA, but by the environment that's been created. Their mind cannot accept anything else. So whatever the subconscious mind can tolerate will basically allow you. If you're a $10,000 a month player, your subconscious is vibrating at a $10,000 level. And then some of us that have made way more than that, we're vibrating at a totally different level. Our brain won't accept anything else. Like it's funny how, you know, you promote a business opportunity on the internet and then somebody says $25 is too much money. I can't afford it. Like I say, I think those, you know, I say either get off the internet or go to the vet and get a needle. You know, really, you have no place being on the internet in a home-based business. You would never want to bring that type of conversation mentality to, you know, successful business people in a boardroom. So, I kind of laugh because there's no such thing. There really is no such thing as I can't afford it. I can prove it to you right now that excuse does not pan out. I'll give an example. So, I said to somebody, I was pitching a business opportunity. I'll give you a short one. I've done this a couple times because one of the things that I claim to be able to do is close anyone in 45 seconds or less 100% of the time to looking at anything I want them to look at. All right. And it's really good in dating too, if you're single. But anyhow, I had somebody that said, no, man, I can't afford your program. It's $100. I can't afford it. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, I can't afford it. I said, I'll tell you what if I were to give you my $500,000 Ferrari for $100? Can you afford it right now? You have 20 seconds to give me an answer, yes or no. I said, yeah, absolutely, I can afford it. Okay, welcome to the team. So the bottom line is there's no such thing. If somebody wants something bad enough, the saddest thing in the world to me out there right now is people have been abused on the internet. It's almost like an abusive, toxic relationship in many which ways, shapes, and forms with business opportunities and whatnot. So people have been beaten down, just like in a child that's been abused by parents and a family too.
Yep.
And so they have this belief system that they're unworthy, possibly. And at the same time, they've seen so many ups and downs that they don't believe anymore. So the level of beliefs there, therefore, they're buying into the path of resistance. Resistance is their protection mechanism. But when I take a look at a business, I would protect myself from a 9-to-5 job. If somebody said, hey, I'll hire you for $100 an hour, are you freaking kidding me? I wouldn't work for $100 an hour if my life depended on it. That's not acceptable to my brain. It can't accept that type of thing, especially when you're making, unfathomable, I can't get the words out, unfathomable amounts of money. Who's going to work for $100 an hour? So we all have a price range. Some people feel comfortable at $20 an hour, $30 an hour, $40 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $1,000 an hour. So my question is why? And where are you at? What's acceptable to you? And so when you ask somebody how much are they worth per hour, that offers clues as to where they are in life and where they're vibrating at. And I can tell you, when I talk to people after probably 10 minutes of talking to people, I can tell you the type of furniture they have in their house. I can tell you the car they drive. I can tell you the shitty Walmart pictures on the walls that they buy. I can tell you where they buy their shitty furniture. I can tell you how many beer bottles are sitting on the coffee table. I can tell you how many pee stains are on the carpet from their pets. There's, it's amazing what you can get from people when you become a student. And it doesn't take much to basically, tell people a little bit about their lives. And they kind of go, well, how did you figure that out? Well, you basically told me in 10 minutes without telling me. There's so much there. So the big question is, what do people want and what price are you willing to pay for that? And I'll tell you something, it should never come down to money as being the obstacle, because I've joined business opportunities for a lot of money and I wanted nothing to do with the business opportunity. But what I wanted was access to the people.
And the information, right?
Oh, the information they had.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like, some people say, like, you're the best. Who are your mentors and teachers? I'll be honest with you. My teachers and mentors were not your stereotypical Anthony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, all the cliche crap that everybody gives you. Well, I went and saw this guy in Vegas at the Go Blow event or whatever it is, those speakers on stage. No, man, there's nothing to learn from those people. I mean, if you want to get a little bit high for a weekend and stuff like that and feel really good, and you're going to take on the world for 2 days and then go back and be a zombie 3 weeks later again and go back through life in automatic pilot. The best people you can learn from are those that taught the good, taught the bad, taught the ugly. And I've been around some really interesting people, some of them very bad to be very, very bad. They made copious amounts of money. And what they can teach you is how to be like that or how not to be. But they have a skill set that is unbelievable, and unfortunately, some of them went to the dark side of the world. But if you can take some of the positives out of that experience. So I've been around, the biggest, the baddest, and the best in the world, and no motivational speaking. Why do you think motivational speakers or trainers stay away from actually building businesses? Because they can't do it.
Yeah, that's complete facts right there.
They can only teach it.
I want to, there's a lot of things that we're going to have to do a couple episodes, and I already made that. We're going to do this a few more times. I want to bring in, because I love sports, and I found those that are successful. You're a hockey guy. Yeah. You're Canadian. How does hockey and the skills you learned, the team, camaraderie, the teamwork, and all that stuff, how does that translate into the network marketing model? Are you able to draw some things from sports to help you along the way?
Absolutely. Yeah. First off, you got to get up in the morning. I remember my dad when I was younger. My dad was taking me to hockey practice at 6 a.m. on Saturday mornings, and then we had 2 games Saturday in the day. So number one, you have to show up. Most people don't want to show up. You got to be there, right? So you have to plug into something. Number two, it's a form of communication. A lot of people talk about the word duplication. I'm going to be totally honest with you and frank with you on this call. The only thing I've ever seen duplicated successfully in the history of network marketing is failure. So the concept I teach is delegation. In hockey, we have a center, we have a left winger. Hockey, we have a center, we have a left winger or a right winger. We have 2 defense, left defense, right defense. We have a goalie. And that team has to work together in order to get a positive end result. If the team doesn't work together, you're not going to get a positive end result. And so even today in network marketing, they're not stressing team building. They're not stressing relationship building. They're stressing things like AI, automation, stay in bed and be brain dead and get rich doing nothing. I think those people are idiots. I have no problem telling you that, but I would never do that. When I got married, I've been married 3 times. Greatest things. It gets better every time, by the way, just so you know. Some people really, no, it gets better all the time because we evolve in life and we grow. And sometimes we outgrow personalities and people and things like that. and you don't lock in sometimes. But anyhow, I can tell you, I never proposed to my wife or, through an autoresponder or an AI bot or anything like that. There was a relationship times 3 of them. And with my kids, I communicate with my kids. We sit down, my kids and I, we have boardroom meetings every day. We call in, we talk. Maya, how was your day today? Tell me about your day. Ethan, how was your day today? What's happening with you tonight? What are you guys doing this weekend? What are your plans for the next few hours or so? We have these meetings and we have such an open bonded relationship. And when you take a look at where network marketing is today, the reason why it's in a terrible state today is because there's no glue that holds it together. There's really no glue. You're seeing people jumping around from program to program, like they're running from, prostitution house to prostitution house. It's kind of like, the pimp and the prostitute relationship. Go out and find a new John today. You know what I'm saying? Forgive me for the name John, but that's what seems to be going on in a lot of cases. So the bottom line is we got to get back to building relationships. That can be done through many, many different ways, but people have to choose to be plugged in. And the biggest problem in network marketing today is people are not giving themselves permission to step forward. They're giving themselves permission to step backwards. So there's very little evolution in network marketing today. There might be in technology in companies, but today's network marketer today would not even be worthy of standing in a hotel room back in the 80s or the 90s when things were booming. And keep in mind, back in 1978, when I got started in network marketing in 1978, it wasn't $25. It wasn't a little $9.95 program and you get paid 20 cents. There's no money to be made in that stuff. We were dropping. I remember my mom dropped on her credit card, which she couldn't afford, by the way. She dropped $479 for the package in 1978. So
that's got to be a couple $1,000. It's like today,
it's
right?
Huge today. Yeah. And people whine and complain on the internet about $50, $60, $100 or whatever it is. Everything you whine about, write down a list of everything you whine about, all the things negative about network marketing, and then get the hell out of the industry. Go get a job at Walmart and greet people at the door. Honestly, if you have a grievance about this industry, or how some people talk about pyramid schemes. Have you ever heard people say, "Well, that's a pyramid scheme"? Yeah. Those people are stupid. I have no problem telling them they're dumb and stupid. My brother's a police officer. I told him he was dumb and stupid too.
Everyone's in a pyramid scheme. Everyone involved.
But here's what people don't understand. You see, they've been brainwashed by dumbass education that the school system sucks. The educational system sucks. And then you have to ask yourself, who are you getting this knowledge from? Are you getting it from government? Are you getting it from Google? Are you getting it from your uncle? They're all full of shit. They're all dumbass people for a reason. They have their own hidden propaganda and agenda. So I ask you this question. All right. So we're in a corporation, a 9-to-5 business. Let's say we're running a factory. We have a machine shop. And we've got this business. We've got overhead that has to be paid. We've got 10 employees. And we've got machines. And we've got material. And we've got a receptionist. And we got somebody that cleans the windows and flushes the toilets and cleans the toilets. And we got, the laborers out there building the stuff. Where does the money come from to pay those different levels? The receptionist, the cleaner, the guy sitting in the office, and 10 employees that might rank differently in their education and knowledge about welding or machine shopping, or I'm sure you have an apprentice there and you have somebody stocking shelves and things like that. So where does the money come from to pay that pyramid structure, the employee pyramid structure? It's an employment pyramid scheme. It's got to be the sales force. So somebody's got to go out there and generate sales in order to pay the person at the desk answering the phone, doing the computer work, that is not responsible for generating any income coming into the business. The guys out there in the manufacturing, they have nothing to do with income coming into the business outside of the manufacturing, but those sales are not generated unless there's a sales force out there bringing money into the business, paying the employees money up, 6, 7, 8 levels deep, or 6 or 7 or 8 employees. They had nothing to do with it. I mean, why don't they teach that in school? Or, why doesn't the government actually give you real information on Google or, the review sites on the internet? Have you ever noticed that most of the review sites on the internet and MLM, they're run by child molesters? They are. I have no problem saying that on this call. One of the biggest review sites out there on the internet is run out of Vietnam. So, some guy out there, he calls everything a pyramid scheme, and he's asking for donations on his site and things like that. And he's giving people all this information, like he breaks down comp plans. And then he says, yeah, it's a pyramid. It's a pyramid. But he doesn't have the balls to get in the octagon and face any of the people, for example, that he might be reviewing or their companies. So it's easy for somebody to hide in a third world country, or multiple people to hide in a third world country, and then have their little rat pack go in there and throw comments up there. But it's all designed. See, people think it's factual information. Sometimes it is, but most of it's bullshit. But it's a great way to get great Alexa ratings on the internet, create traffic, create anything negative, and use celebrities and successful people's names to drive traffic to your website through search engines. So it's really phenomenal. If people only knew the truth behind the veil, how it really works in this industry. And you'd be shocked, again, my head's popping information, and you'd be shocked again what really goes on at events after speakers speak on stage. You go down to Vegas and you see an event, all these great speakers speak on stage. Do you know what goes on after hours in the hotel rooms? Most people don't. They have no idea what's
wild.
Going on. It's more than wild. It would rock your freaking world. So, what's presented on the album cover is not necessarily really what's on the inside of the album cover. It's amazing, from drugs to swapping spouses to sex with distributors to all kinds of interesting things go on. It's pretty amazing. And that's where transactions are made inside the hotel rooms, to little private wheelings and dealings. Shouldn't be telling you that, but that's a part of an industry that we never talk about. You don't see that out there, somebody doing calls on that or revealing that. We always think certain people are, just iconic.
On the up and up and all the time. This is why I started this, is to educate people. It's important.
Well, I think you got to know the good, the bad, the ugly of everything, because everything and every person has a good, a bad, and an ugly to some degree. Nobody's perfect,
Right.
The internet has been used. Yeah. The stage has been used to create a facade. So we kind of create these images of people in our heads. We look up to them as iconic rock gods in the industry, when in essence, some of them are broken human beings backstage. Their lifestyles are totally different, from drug abuse to alcohol abuse to womanizing to manonizing, whatever it is. I mean, women hitting on men, men hitting on women. There's all kinds of things that go on in bathrooms that people don't know about.
Early on, Val made a comment as far as being able to close somebody in under 45 seconds and about giving $100 and someone didn't have it. But if I give you the Ferrari, would you, pay me $100? And most people say, yeah. If you could give us 3 tips. Maybe they don't have a Ferrari.
It doesn't have to be a Ferrari. It can be really simple as this, Shawn, if I could honestly show you a way to make every single one of your monthly payments without ever again using your monthly primary source of income to do so, would you give me 15 minutes of your time so I can show you that?
Guys, it's fire right there. That is powerful.
So you just got to ask questions. As long as you're showing people your link, and as long as you're telling people how great your products are, and as long as you're telling people that it's going to be life-changing, you're going to lose them. The only way to bring people to you is ask them questions. Let them answer those questions. But if you're telling them that your company's better than theirs and this, that, and the other, they're going to repel. They're not going to come closer.
Man, you're going to see Val again, because there's lots of more questions that I would love to get out of his head, and if he's up for it.
And, Well, next time we pop in here, I'll show you how I was averaging over 900 people a day in my downline. On the next call, I'll do the math. I'll show you the system and the mathematical numbers to do that.
All right, 900 in the day. Perfect.
Minimum 900. It would fluctuate, sometimes 617, but averaging 900, where company owners would sit there. I remember I went into one company one day, and I joined the company at 2:14 in the afternoon, and it was 7:30 at night the same day. And the company owners phone me back and they say, "Who the hell are you?" I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "We had 714 applications come in through the fax machine today." That's when, faxes were coming into the Yeah, I had to throw that in there. So anyhow, but you could still use similar applications today, although the industry is so diluted today. It's unbelievable. There's just so many pie in the sky companies out there. It's not like it was 15 years ago or even 10 years ago. But anyhow, we can definitely help some people and give them some really cool knowledge-based information that they can run with.
And just want to end, guys. I want to thank Val for being with us today and dropping some massive value. Again, this would never have happened if I, one, wasn't on social media, two, wasn't just taking a risk and asking, and will you be on my podcast? Will you drop some value? We had a phone call beforehand. I was like, damn, this is going to be phenomenal. We got to set this up. And we made it happen. But a lot of people say, oh, I can't talk to people like Val. I won't be able to get into his league. It's just taking a risk and having conversations. You never know where it's going to lead. Just with your business. Got to try. Everything that we're sharing today, pick up some nuggets and actually implement them.
Doesn't hurt to ask, right? Doesn't hurt to ask. And the funny thing is you and I did talk, but the interesting thing was, and I do this when I interview people too, I never tell them what we're going to talk about, and I never give them a chance to prepare. And the reason, because I never prepare for anything. I don't have to prepare for anything. I just know everything that I need to know. Doesn't matter. Right. And so if a person needs to prepare the night before, they shouldn't be on the show.
Right.
That's the way I look at it, honestly. That's how I feel. There's no value in somebody going back and regurgitating information. If you're good at what you do, it's kind of like martial arts. You don't prepare for martial arts. It's with you. It's muscle memory, and it's subconsciously programmed. You know exactly what's going to take place before it even takes place. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that with you too.
Love it, man. Hey, everyone, till the next time we are together, we hope you have an amazing rest of your day, wherever you are in this world. Have a great day.
Thanks, Shawn.
I'll stick around for 1 second. Bye, guys.